Sometimes you might need a pick-me-up, a push in the right direction, some words that help put you back on track. This is the Learn, Develop, Live podcast with your motivational moment.
Good morning. My name is Chris Jaggs and I am your host for another motivational moment from the Learn, Develop, Live podcast. For your inspirational moment for the week, I have Michael Wickett for you. Michael is a professional speaker, trainer and success coach for more than 25 years and conducts programs regularly on leadership, selling skills, customer service and peak performance. He's also a great presenter. Michael is going to tell you about his past motivation and how to keep dreaming. Here is Michael.
This is my compelling future. Several hundred typewritten life goals, and then I write new ones in there. Now, if you think that that's a lot, I've got like 150 travel goals because that is my passion. I have every hotel, every festival, every city, every bed and breakfast, every world event because I love travel. Jack Boland, the Church of Today, Unity, I used to go to, and he did a session on goal setting. And it changed my whole life. And he told a story of a 15-year-old boy named John Goddard. How many of you heard the John Goddard story? Just a couple. 15-year-old boy John Goddard was a Boy Scout, was in his bedroom one day, and his father's best friend was visiting his dad, John Sr. And he heard his dad, on a rainy Sunday afternoon in the 40s, he heard his dad say, his dad's best friend say, "You know, John, if I had my life to live over again, there's so many things I would have done differently." And his dad said, "Like what?" And he started naming those things. You know, the guy's like 50, 60 and saying, "I wish I could live my life over." Well, 15-year-old John Goddard heard that and thought, "I don't want that to be me." Well, he grabbed a pad and he wrote, my life's dreams. He started writing. He wrote for days and days and days and days. And 15-year-old John Goddard came up with 127 life goals. Visit every country in the world, run a 5-minute mile, do 100 push-ups, climb 14 major mountains in the world, beginning with Everest, explore 22 major rivers, light a match with a 22, milk a rattlesnake, read every word in the Bible, teach a class on the Bible, be happily married, raise kids. 127 goals all over the map. Learn 3 languages. And 27 years later, at the age of 42, John Goddard had accomplished 108 of the 127 goals he wrote down. He was on the cover of Life magazine, I believe it was 1972. And the feature story, the cover said, "One man's life of no regrets." John Goddard never had a midlife crisis. How many of you know someone, not yourself, but how many of you know someone who's having a midlife crisis? They don't have any goals. They don't have any motivation. They don't have a reason to get out of bed in the morning. And people cannot create that for us. Your spouse can't create that for you. Your parents, your boss, people can't create that. To this day, I believe he's accomplished 118 of the 127 he wrote down. Visited the Great Wall of China, rafted he explored 22 major rivers. He became the first person to kayak 4,000 miles the length of the Nile River. His best friend was killed in a hailstorm. And they had to battle animals. I mean, who would kayak the length of the Nile? But he did. These sandstorms and wild bees and ants and animals. Oh, gosh. But he did. And he wrote a book, kayaks down the Nile, and he became famous, and he has spoken all over the world at adventure clubs and things. But I heard that at church, and I went home and sat on a Naugahyde couch. I was renting one room, 1977, and I wrote my life goals, and I started writing. Now, Jack Boland, who was teaching the session, said, forget how, just dream big, get in that space, write down what you want to have, do, become, or experience. I wrote 58 goals. I looked at those goals, and I thought, now, how am I ever going to, and then his words came back to me. And he said, just keep looking at the list and follow your intuition and take action when appropriate. And guess what? By the early 90s, which was maybe 14 years later, I had all but 4. Astonishing. And when I went back to visit Sister Rose DeLorde, she said I didn't get any smarter. I said, "Sister, thank you so much. I appreciate it." She said, "But Michael, you're a dear boy. You were a good altar boy." "Oh, thank you, sister. I appreciate that." It wasn't about being smarter. IQ is overrated. IQ is overrated. It's EQ. Because everything in life is energy, not IQ. They know that now. It's kind of like 15 years ago, aspirin was fabulous, and then 5 years ago they weren't sure, and now vitamin C is fabulous. It just depends who's doing the study. You can create evidence to support anything. Yes. So I wrote those things down. Me who never accomplished anything. And now I have 3 left out of the 58. But I wrote a new life goal sheet in 1992. So what I want to say to you is, you don't want to look at your circumstances and say, that's me. That's what I can do. Because you're stuck with that. You with me? If your history in relationships has been unsuccessful, you could say, well, I don't trust men, I don't trust women. You're stuck with it. That's your reality. You don't want to do that. You don't want to give up the ability to dream and think big. Now, you might want to take action and learn and improve. For example, if you're not making enough sales, you need to learn how to sell. You may need a coach. If you've had relationship problems, you need to build your self-esteem and learn more about how to communicate, listen, and get along with the opposite sex, for example. See, wherever there's pain, there's opportunity. Well, anyway, setting goals, that list goes with me all over the world. And I don't know if you can see the yellow. The yellow means I accomplished it. I think I've accomplished 50 or 60. Some of them have been just profound. So what I want to do is, would everybody open your worksheet? Your workbook. There's room for how many goals in there, everybody? 100. So the assignment is, and this will change your life. Might take you a week, might take you 3 or 4 weeks, might take you 2 months, it doesn't matter. How many life goals do you want to write down? What, everybody? 100. Big goals, little goals, serious goals, fun goals. The reason is it gives purpose to your life. Only you can create a sense of purpose. And when you have a sense of, because life is not about intellectual brilliance, it's about energy. It doesn't matter how much you earn or where you get to if it's fulfilling for you. But you want to live life on purpose, your purpose. That list has brought miracles into my life, and I don't use that term very often, but it's brought incredible things and breakthroughs into my life. That list I wrote in 1992. Because I was completely unrealistic. If Sister Rose Dolores had seen that list, she would have fainted. No, I'm serious. I wrote down things that have never been done in the speaking business. Still working on some of them. But it's so profoundly powerful to do that. Now I want you to think of your business and what you want more than anything else in the world, and I want you to quantify it and write it number 1. Now, how much would you love to earn, even though you may not know how you're going to be able to do it, even though you may not know what will happen in the market? How much would you love to earn maybe in the next 2, 3, 5 years? Or invest, or write it down. Forget how, forget how, forget how, forget how. What is something wonderful you want to do with your business? And if earnings is not the best criteria, then you write down what is. Very specific. More money is not specific. More sales is not specific. Very specific. 30 deals this year as a realtor, salesperson. 80,000 income, 150,000 income. Whatever it is. The mind responds to specificity. What is that word, everybody? What's that word? Specificity. Very, very specific.
And that was Michael Wickett with part of his talk, Keys to a Better Life. As you heard from the talk, you encourage yourself to keep thinking big regardless of your circumstances. You just need to simply set big, specific goals, take action, and, of course, follow your heart and intuition to live life on purpose. Maybe it's time you got yourself an empty notebook and started to write down the things that you want to do in life. Write it down. That's just the start of what could be a huge thing once you get yourself going. Now, one thing you could add to that list is you may want to book your free 30-minute LDL power call. This would be 30 minutes, one-to-one, and we can go over your list, you start your list, and see what's possible right now. Let's see what we can make happen as soon as possible. And remember, success becomes very addictive once it starts to happen. You can find the Learn, Develop, Live calendar at ldlcall.com and you can book your free 30-minute call there. Thanks for listening, as always. I look forward to speaking to you on the call, and as for this episode, I will see you in the next one.
Thanks for listening. You can find more motivational moments at learndeveloplive.com, and we'll be back to inspire you again tomorrow.